Let me start off by saying that I am extremely hungry. I don't know why it is that I start some of these videos or most of them on an empty stomach. If you happen to hear some loud grumbling, it's not a wild animal, it's just my stomach. I could literally eat a raw cow right now. That's how hungry I am. I'm totally kidding, that sounds disgusting, but chop it up, slap some nice rub on it, throw it on a grill, and I'm definitely munching on it. Do you feel guilty for eating cheeseburgers just yet? Hopefully you do. Anyways, all jokes aside, let's get straight into today's video. I thought I would do one of these more chill, relaxed, layback videos where we look at some really cool DC Multiverse action figure customs on eBay. Now, I use the word DC Multiverse a little bit loose because these are just kind of random. They're based on people's perspectives, and so they may steer a little bit in terms of scaling. Some of these figures may be a bit bigger than we're used to from the DC Multiverse line, and some of them may be smaller, and it just depends on what you collect. Some people are still stuck on in the Mattel universe. They only can collect DC Multiverse from Mattel. Others are all in on the McFarlane DC Multiverse line. So it's a matter of personal perspective, a matter of personal opinion, and that's what customs are really. It gives you a different outlook on some of these characters, and it's always fun to look at some of these creations that people have come up with online. So let's get straight into it without wasting any more saliva or breath. And actually, I kind of lied. I'm gonna waste a little bit more saliva and breath. If you guys like this type of nonsense content from us, we do actually have a second channel where we mostly talk about like gaming and comic books and things of that nature. It's kind of a random everywhere type of channel, but if you guys are interested, you guys can definitely check it out. I'll put a link in the description or throw something up on the screen now. If I didn't, I'm sorry. I forget, I'm human. Anyways, let's get straight into it. Let's start off with the first custom figure that we found, and this is a custom Killer Croc action figure. This one looks really well done, although I can almost place everything on the figure. I believe the body mold is at Gamerverse Bath, Marvel Legends from Hasbro. I could be off a little bit, but I think most of the body is that. You do have some cloth goods. He does have some orange pants and then some shackles around the ankles as well as the wrists. The head sculpt I couldn't quite place. It looks like maybe from the Mattel universe, like that Killer Croc Build-A-Figure as well, but I couldn't be 100% certain of that. I will say the figure looks really well done. Not a lot of sculpt work, obviously. It looks like maybe the creator might have done a little bit of paintwork here and there, but for the most part it looks more of like a kit badge to me, but it's still a phenomenal figure. I will say it's worth noting that the creator decided to not post any pictures with the figure next to any other DC Multiverse figures, which is a little bit weird. I'm gonna guess it's because the scaling is a little bit off. I don't remember the exact measurements for that Abomination Bath, but I think it was maybe like 8 inches, so it kind of fits in with your Mattel universe a little bit more. He's beefier, hunkier, and I believe that entire Mattel universe was about like 6 inches, whereas in with the DC Multiverse from McFarlane, they are closer to like 7.5 inches, some of them a little bit over 7 inches, but it just, I don't know if it would fit in too well with the DC Multiverse from McFarlane. Now I will say in certain comic book renditions or certain storylines, Killer Croc is kind of just a big hunky guy. He's not necessarily that tall, he's more just really wide and slightly taller than most of your other figures, so he might be able to fit in to multiple different displays. I think it's just depending on the consumer and how you see your Killer Croc. But this is a really cool kit bash. I will say the price is a little bit up there just because this bath alone I think probably goes for like around $60 to $70, so I'm assuming the rest of it has to do with like maybe the cloth goods and the shackles, but still it's a decent price. You're looking at about like $180 with shipping fees and taxes and everything. It's a really cool figure. Definitely check it out if you haven't liked any of the Killer Crocs that we've received thus far from any of the OMs. Unlike the previous entry into today's video where it was a figure that kind of fell in between two different scales, two different lines, it kind of fit into both but not really. This particular figure definitely looks to fit in with the DC Multiverse from McFarlane. It scales about like that 7-inch line, closer to the 1/10 scale, and again I could be wrong, but just looking at the body mold, it kind of reminds me of that Fighting the Frozen Batman action figure from the DC Direct line. This was supposed to be that new line that McFarlane was launching where it didn't come with any Build-A-Figure pieces. It was just like a comic book and that plastic blister pack. It was a very niche wave. Not everybody jumped in on it, but it was really interesting. It was kind of like a new take on Batman as a whole. I think that's what he's using here. Not only that, you are looking at some of the blood splatter. There's quite a bit of detail that this customizer added, and obviously the new head sculpt. But as I said, this one veers closer to that 1/10 scale if this customizer is using a DC Multiverse body mold from McFarlane, which I do believe that this customizer is using. If you're looking to purchase this one, it is quite a bit of a hefty price. You're looking at about like 110, 120, somewhere along those lines. There are a few watchers for this particular figure, just as there were for the previous entry, so definitely keep an eye on it if you're interested. It seems like it's going to be one of those that sells any day now. If you guys are interested in something a little bit more classic, there is a seller that is offering a Lex Luthor with the stylings closer to like the Super Friends era. And I'll be brutally honest with you guys, I can't even pinpoint this body mold, but just looking at those joints from the upper leg, like the thigh area, I'm going to guess that this is probably like an older Marvel Select action figure, maybe. Not to mention it does have the single jointed elbows, and I don't believe that the DC Multiverse from McFarlane has ever released something like that. Even with their most limited body molds, they always have the double jointed knees, elbows, and all of that great articulation. According to the description, the seller also reiterates that it scales perfectly with the DC Multiverse from McFarlane. However, it is kind of a common trend for all of these sellers. There are no comparison images. I really wish that they would throw in some, you know, maybe Marvel Legends or some McFarlane Multiverse figures or Mattel, just something to give us an idea of how tall these figures are. For the most part, that's one of the minor key issues that I've had with the listings, but I absolutely love the colors on this. Great paint job. I love the base. Overall, this is a really good solid pickup if this is your style. And if you guys are interested in picking this one up, you'll be paying about $120 with free shipping. Obviously add, you know, taxes and all the other fees along with it, so you're paying closer to about like maybe $125 to $130. Solid pickup. Like I said, great paint work, classic looking Lex Luthor. I thought we would round out today's video not necessarily with more custom action figures, but just custom fodder or accessory pieces. I really quickly wanted to show you guys this really cool custom Superboy 1/10 scale head sculpt, and if the description is correct, the 1/10 scale will fit in perfectly with the DC Multiverse line. It's really well painted, it's really well done, and usually you can find some of these unpainted head sculpts for much less. I've seen them for as low as like $15. This one's going for twice as much, just because the creator or the customizer actually has to go in there, prime the entire head sculpt, add, you know, the little finish and all things of that nature. It's quite complex, but for $30 you get an extra Superboy head sculpt. If this is your cup of tea, it's definitely worth checking out. There are a few watchers for this, and as of the moment of this recording, I believe there were about 6 of these available. And then finally, the last listing that I wanted to show you guys was this really cool wired cape that is supposed to be specific for that Dark Knight armored Batman. Now, I have noticed that this seller does have other styles of cape, so I'm assuming there's something that is specific for this cape, maybe the design or the length that perfectly fits the source material for the Dark Knight Returns. I'm not 100% sure, but the wired capes look phenomenal for this figure. The seller has made plenty of sales within the last few months, not to mention there are quite a few people watching this, and the moment that I clicked on it, I believe the eBay listing allows you to see how many people have these in their cart, and there were already a few people that had them in there. So it's definitely a hot ticket item. If you guys are interested, definitely check this out. I believe the Dark Knight armored Batman was always massively underrated. It was a phenomenal figure from McFarlane, great sculpting, and if you had the wired cape, I think it will only emphasize how great of a figure this was. So there you guys have it. I don't want to make it too long, I don't want to make it too extensive. Just a quick video where we showcase some of the best custom accessories or custom action figures out there in the marketplace. If you guys are interested in any of these, definitely check them out, and stay tuned because we upload a ton of random content like this. If you guys enjoy this kind of stuff, you guys will definitely enjoy some of our future content. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Let me know your thoughts down below. Stay safe out there, enjoy the hobby, and I will see you guys in the next one. Thank you.